Welcome to Healthy versus Toxic, the podcast where licensed mental health professionals explore what makes a relationship healthy or unhealthy or even abusive, all from a scientifically informed perspective.
Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today the question is, what is paranoid personality disorder? Now, paranoid personality disorder is in the same grouping as schizotypal and schizoid personality disorders. And in the DSM, this grouping is called Cluster A. There's 3 clusters of personality disorders in DSM, clusters A, B, and C. Paranoid personality disorder is in cluster A. And this disorder is characterized by a pervasive pattern of suspiciousness and distrust of others. So with this disorder, oftentimes individuals will see other people as trying to exploit them, harm them, or deceive them. And they'll doubt the loyalty of close friends, distant friends, relatives, associates, pretty much everyone around them they have any type of meaningful contact with. So if somebody approaches them and appears to be loyal, they'll really find that to be startling or unusual and become more suspicious. Individuals with this disorder oftentimes are reluctant to confide in people about their feelings of vulnerability, about their thoughts of hostility toward others, or this feeling that they're being threatened by others. They don't really like to talk about that. The idea here is that if they confide in people, they're giving information to other people that could be used against them. So they don't tend to talk much about it. They also see hidden demeaning aspects or threatening aspects in innocuous remarks and comments. And this can be just brief comments that people make, like a greeting or saying goodbye. Or for example, if someone with this disorder is at a restaurant and the waiter or waitress brings the wrong meal, instead of that just being an honest mistake in that person's mind, they could turn that into, well, that person brought me the wrong meal because they are conspiring against me or they don't like me. So it's reading way more than the evidence would suggest. So everybody has paranoia once in a while, just like narcissism. It's normal to have paranoid feelings once in a while. But these symptoms that we see in paranoid personality disorder are well beyond what the evidence supports. Another piece with paranoid personality disorder is this idea of holding grudges. So once somebody with this disorder forms this distrust or has this suspiciousness, oftentimes a grudge follows. And this is a lack of forgiveness. Even though nothing was actually done, in the individual's mind, forgiveness would be necessary to move on, and they can't forgive. They hold that grudge, and sometimes they act on that over time. Also with this disorder, there's this idea of someone thinks that their character or reputation is being attacked or is going to be attacked, and they want to counterattack. So oftentimes somebody with this disorder will act out verbally, sometimes physically, in an effort to counterattack, to get ahead of a possible attack against their character or reputation they think somebody is planning. A major piece here with this disorder is fidelity. And for those people with this disorder who are married or in a long-term relationship, it's not unusual they become suspicious and believe that their partner is cheating. And they look for evidence that this is happening and they try to control that person's whereabouts. And of course, this is something that's very difficult to handle for the partner. So with this fidelity piece or this suspecting infidelity piece, it becomes this logical problem of trying to disprove a negative. The partner is always on the defensive, trying to prove that he or she has been using their time in a productive way and not cheating. And this only increases the level of suspiciousness. It's kind of a cycle that the person with the disorder enters into. Now, relationship problems are fairly common with people with paranoid personality disorder. They are oftentimes looked at as litigious and cold, and also they get into a cycle. So they believe that people are threatening them or out to get them, and they're distrustful. the way they treat people then causes those people to have sometimes hostile feelings toward that individual with disorder, or to not trust that individual, or to think that they're not friendly. So then other people are sometimes a little cold to people with this disorder, and that serves as evidence that the individual with disorder was right, that the person is threatening or doesn't like them or has bad intentions, and this cycle just continues. So paranoid personality disorder is a chronic, long-lasting condition, but there's also this cycle to look out for, where the suspicious behavior, leads to reactions that are negative, and that leads to more suspicious behavior. So you have the chronic, long-lasting piece plus the cycle. It can make this disorder quite difficult to treat. All personality disorders are considered somewhat difficult to treat, and paranoid personality disorder is no exception. Now, for somebody with this disorder, especially during periods of stress, they can experience brief psychosis, a detachment from reality, delusions, hallucinations. And these can last anywhere from minutes to hours. And this can become difficult for a diagnostic reason, because if somebody has psychosis, oftentimes we think of the extremes of major depressive disorder and bipolar disorder or schizophrenia. But with paranoid personality disorder, these are brief episodes of psychosis. And the criteria of paranoid personality disorder is met before the psychosis and met after. Again, it's persistent illness. So it's chronic and long-lasting, and we'd expect to see it for a while. There may be periods of psychosis, and afterwards it's going to continue. Disorders that are comorbid with paranoid personality disorder include major depressive disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder, substance use disorders, and agoraphobia. We also see other personality disorders comorbid with paranoid personality disorder. And I mentioned earlier that paranoid personality disorder is in cluster A of the personality disorders in the DSM, and two of the personality disorders that are more highly comorbid with paranoid personality disorder are the other disorders in cluster A, schizotypal and schizoid. We also see other personality disorders comorbid with paranoid personality disorder, including avoidant personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder, and borderline personality disorder. The prevalence in the population is thought to be somewhere between 2 and 4%. Individuals with this disorder oftentimes don't seek treatment, which makes sense because they have feelings of paranoia, thoughts of paranoia. So they're going to have trouble trusting mental health clinicians and other people in the mental health treatment field. There has been research done on this idea that people with paranoid personality disorder have a tendency toward violence that's greater than we see with a lot of other personality disorders, and that we see with a lot of other mental health disorders in general. And there is some violence associated with paranoid personality disorder in a small number of the individuals that have the disorder. This is often thought of as something that's provoked, meaning individuals with this disorder would rarely be spontaneously violent, but rather there's some sort of provocation. What makes this difficult, though, is their threshold for provocation can be very low because of the high paranoia. Individuals with this disorder are also more likely to be involved in stalking and making threats. So this is a personality disorder, of course, and we know that these can be difficult to treat. There is, however, a treatment protocol several available for paranoid personality disorder, and they've shown to have some success, although they do take quite a bit of time. Talk therapy is one of the most popular treatments for paranoid personality disorder, and counseling designed to treat paranoid personality disorder would oftentimes emphasize helping the individual to verbalize distress instead of acting on it physically, and recognizing feelings, developing insight, particularly recognizing feelings of vulnerability, which we believe exist in many people that have paranoid personality disorder, and to develop a realistic view of how others view them. So increasing the level of trust that that individual has in other people to a realistic level.
Thanks for listening. This has been a production of Ars Longa Media. The executive producer is Dr. Patrick Beeman. For more content, please visit our website at arslonga.media. To leave feedback or suggestions, send an email to info@arslonga.media. To find more content from Dr. Grande, including a link to his YouTube channel and his other Ars Longa podcasts, visit our website at arslonga.media. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only and should not be construed as medical or mental health advice. Ars Longa, Vita Brevis.